Okay, this lesson is going to cover the two foundations of your internet business. The two primary foundations to any internet business is number one, your hosting account, and number two, your domain name. Your domain name is the way that people find you on the internet. It's the address, so to speak, of your internet website. And the hosting account is the rent you spend for a company to make sure that website is always accessible and available on the internet for people to be able to find. So whether you're hosting a website or whether you're going to be setting up a blog, a domain name and a hosting account are two primary things that you need in order to be successful with your internet business. Now for registering both your domain name and your hosting account, we recommend HostGator for a few reasons. Number one, HostGator we feel offers the best support of any web hosting company. If you have a problem, if you have any questions, if you need any help with your website or your hosting account, HostGator is very well known and has a reputation in the industry of being very, very quick and very, very good with their support. They have a 99.9% uptime rate, which means that your website is always available. It's always accessible, and you're not going to lose any revenue or income because of your website going down or not being available for your customers. And finally, they have very flexible and affordable payment terms, which is nice. They're very, very competitive with their pricing. If you go month to month, you can get a hosting account for as little as $9.95 a month with a domain name registration of $15, which covers that domain name for a year. If you prepay your hosting for a year, 2 years, 3 years, you can get an average monthly rate as little as $4.95 a month. So very, very inexpensive, very, very affordable. First of all, what we want to do is we want to go over and discuss how to choose a domain name. Now, if you already have a domain name, you might want to just review some of these key elements to choosing a domain name and evaluate whether or not you want to continue using the domain name you selected. If you do, that's perfectly fine. It saves you the cost of having to register another domain name or a brand new domain name. Let's go over some of the key things to look for when registering a domain name. Number one, question people have is, do I do a keyword motivated domain name or a creative domain name? The second thing that you want to consider is, do I want a long domain name or a short domain name? And then finally, what extension should I use? Should I use a .com? Should I use a .net, .info, .tv, .ws? There's lots of different options. We want to briefly talk about which options to use and what the different extension options may be. First of all, let's discuss keyword versus creativity on your domain name. Some examples of a keyword motivated domain name would be like marketingtips.com, hosting.com, business.com. These are domain names that have keywords related to the types of words people might be using to search for what you do. If you're going to be primarily marketing through search engines and you're going to be relying on a good placement in search engines to get exposure, you're probably going to want to choose a domain name that is keyword motivated. In other words, it has words used in the domain name that are also the same words you want people to look for you by, and words that you want to appear high in the search engines when they're searched for. The other option you have, of course, is creative keywords, and this is more important if you're going to be relying on word of mouth advertising or what we call viral marketing. Some examples are eBay, Google, YouTube, Yahoo, Twitter. These domain names really don't have any keywords related to what they do. You think of Twitter, you don't think of this allows me to go and communicate and keep track of friends and colleagues on the internet. But they're very easy to remember. They're creative, and so if somebody's telling their friend about a great new site they found where they can keep track of people, Twitter is something that'll stick in people's minds. Or, hey, go check out this website where you can post videos and watch TV. It's called YouTube. So that's more of the creative genius behind there. Let's talk about now long domains versus short domains. The benefit of a long domain, it helps you get better search engine placement. Of course, you can use more keywords if you use a longer domain name. And so you can get typically a better search engine ranking for those keywords. You are limited to 67 characters, so you can't go too overboard. And one thing to remember is long domain names can be easily mistyped. So a domain name, for example, the very best place on the internet for televisions, you're going to get the keywords and it's a longer domain name, but there's a lot of chances that people could misspell it. So once again, you've got to weigh it out. If you're relying on good search engine placement, a longer domain name gives you a chance to get more keywords in and helps your ranking on a broader range of search terms. Short domain names, they're better for word of mouth advertising. Once again, if you think about eBay, Twitter, Yahoo, very short, very few syllables, easy for people to spread the word and remember, and sticks in their mind. They are becoming more difficult to find, of course, because more and more people are using shorter domain names. So if you want a short domain name, it may be a little bit difficult to find a .com. They are also less search engine friendly because you're not using a lot of keywords, and it's just a short one word, very few syllable domain name. It's not going to be related to specifically words you want people to find you by. So once again, it goes back to deciding, am I going to be marketing through search engines? Am I going to be marketing through viral marketing, or both? If it's both, then you can find a happy medium between both options. Let's talk about domain name extensions. .com is the most widely used extension, and it's recommended in most cases. If you're selling to a consumer and you're selling either in the United States or worldwide, you're going to want to find a .com domain name. There are a lot of other domain names people are trying to sell right now, .ws, .tv, but ultimately .com is what the search engines recognize and what most people by default are familiar with typing at the end of a domain name. .net, that's typically used by internet service providers or internal networks. So, for example, corporations will use a .com for their website for their customers, and then internally they'll use a .net for the employee intranet. .org should be used if you're promoting a charity or a nonprofit organization, and those extensions are reserved for those entities. If you are selling, for example, to just the UK, or you're located in the United Kingdom or Canada, and you want people to recognize where you're located, that's important for your business. You could use a .uk or .ca extension, one that represents the country you're doing business in. As I mentioned before, the .biz, .tv, .ws will become eventual replacement extensions for the .com, but now we shouldn't worry about them. It'll probably be several years before some of those other extensions become as popular or popular enough to justify migrating away from the .com extension. Now that we've covered the options for choosing a domain name, let's go ahead and talk about getting your hosting account. Now, as I mentioned, you can register a domain name through GoDaddy or through several different domain name registration companies for as little as $12 to $15 a year. If you buy it for more longer time periods, like 2 years, 5 years, it's cheaper on a per year basis. But if you're going to be hosting through HostGator, you might as well register your domain through them. That way you don't have to do any DNS changes, or you don't need to register with one company and then point your servers to HostGator. To sign up with HostGator, our recommended hosting partner, we've worked out a special deal with them. If you want to pay month to month, you can get your hosting for $9.95. And you can do that just by going to startupshortcuts.com/hosting, or clicking on the hosting lesson that's directly below this one in the dashboard for your income path. But if you just want to go to the URL, you can do that as well. Now, if you use the coupon code StartupShortcuts, you'll actually only pay 1 cent for your first month's hosting. So that's a special arrangement that we worked out for our clients. As I mentioned before, HostGator is a great company, and to be able to get your domain name for $15 for a year, and more importantly, to be able to host your account for less than $10 a month, as I mentioned, it's very, very affordable. Imagine having a store in the mall and only paying $10 a month for your lease. It's absolutely phenomenal, and one of the reasons that people are looking at the internet to start their business and do business. Kind of how the registration process works: when you click on either of the options on our hosting page, or if you go to startupshortcuts.com/hosting, you're going to select if you want to pay month to month. If you want to prepay for 6 months or a year or 2 years to get a lower rate, you can do that. But either way you choose, you're going to get here to select a domain option. Now, if you haven't registered a domain name in the past and you'd like to do it through HostGator, as I mentioned, it's $15, very, very competitive. You can click on register a new domain. And then you're going to type in your new domain name where it says your domain name goes here. You can put it in there, whatever you want. It'll check to see if it's available. If it's not available, it'll ask you to go back and select another option. If you already have a domain name, you can check below that. I will use my existing domain name. Type in the domain name that you're going to be using, and then they'll give you the information to go give to that company to point that domain name to HostGator. When you're done with that, just select the domain name that you would like. As I mentioned, it's $15 for 1 year, or you can buy multiple years at a lower price. When you're done with that, then you just go ahead and click continue, and you move on. It's going to bring you to the Order Wizard. Now, the Order Wizard, the package that's default been selected is the Baby that has everything that you need. I also want to make note that the future lessons in how to set up your website or how to set up your blog, we're going to be doing that through HostGator, and so all of the videos are going to be showing you how to use HostGator's control panel to install the software and to build your website, things of that nature. So that's another great reason to use HostGator, for just the fact that all of the programs and all the training that we teach is going to be showing you how to set up your website and blog through HostGator's software and control panel. We're not owned by HostGator. HostGator isn't our company. We've just done the research, and they're the best company to use. So what you're going to want to do is just enter your coupon code. Don't forget that. Startup Shortcuts. That's going to give you 1 cent hosting for your first month. So just put it there in the coupon field, and then click Calculate Totals. When you get to the order details, you'll see that your domain is $15, and then you're going to have a $9.95 monthly hosting. You're going to be getting a discount of $9.94 if you used our coupon code. And so you're going to be paying 1 cent for your first month. So your $15.01 is the $15 for your domain name registration and 1 cent for your first month's hosting. Keep in mind that if you decide that you want to register your domain name somewhere else, or you already have a domain name, your first month's bill is going to be a penny. Once you're done, just click continue, and it's going to take you to the Order Wizard. You're going to want to fill out the fields, fill out who you are, your email address, pick a username and a password, and then go ahead and just fill out how you want to take care of paying the monthly fee. When you're done with that, click submit, and you have successfully set up the most important part of your business, your internet or domain name and your internet hosting. Thank you for your time and watching this video. Go ahead and get your domain name selected and your hosting account set up now, and we'll see you in the next video, which will cover how to set up your payment options if you're doing a website, or if you're going to be doing a blog, how to set up and install the software to get your blog up and running, and how to decide what to market.